And a very warm welcome. You're listening to the Modern Mystic Radio Show. I'm your host, Saira, and we're on A1R Psychic Radio, the world's #1 psychic radio network, and Moonstruck TV. Now, before I introduce my very special guest for today, I'm just going to remind you very quickly of how you can get in contact with me should you want your own private reading. You can do that through my website, which is www.modern-mystic.co.uk, or you can find me on Facebook under Mystic Saira and Modern Mystic. So now, without further ado, I'm going to welcome in my guest, and this is Becky Eager. Hi, Becky. How are you?
Hello. Hi.
Hello. You're more than welcome. Now, you are a clairvoyant, intuitive empath. Is that correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay, so just try and explain to the people that are watching roughly what that is, what it is that you do.
Okay, so I work intuitively and psychically, so I'm able to connect quite easily with people's energy and the energy of situations around them. And I can use those in my readings and combined with sort of angel tarot cards to help give them a reading, see what's coming up, help them resolve any difficult situations that they're going through in their lives, or just, give them some general guidance and work on that, really.
Okay, and so you work with, is it just angel cards that you use, or do you use any other tools?
I work a lot with energy. I work as a healer as well, so I do a lot of sort of very earthy, down-to-earth treatments like Reiki and reflexology, very hands-on treatments. So I tend to connect with people's energy first, and then, in readings, I'll use the angel cards or tarot cards. And I use crystals as well, which is quite a nice way to kind of connect with people as well and offer some kind of healing and earthy. I'm a Taurus, so I'm very earthy, very, like things very practical.
Do you work with spirit guides as well?
Yes, I do. So when I'm doing readings, before a reading, I'm quite in contact with my own spirit guides as a rule anyway. And then before I do a reading, I tend to just, boost that connection that I have with my own spirit guides. And then I'll ask the angels and spirit guides of the person I'm reading for to come in and help with what's coming up on the cards, and then we kind of work on that when we're doing a reading.
Okay, so what was your first ever psychic experience? Can you remember that?
I remember seeing spirits a lot as a child. I had spirit appear at the end of my bed, very kind of stereotypical psychic experiences that you as a child tell people about, because you think, oh, who is this strange person that appeared to me, and people, oh, you should be a writer, you should tell all of these stories, and think you have a very overactive imagination. So my first experience would have been seeing spirit at the end of my bed, which I know now to be a grandfather that passed for me. But at the time, I'd never met him in life. He passed before I was born. And obviously felt the need to visit me when I was about 6 or 7. And I remember being absolutely terrified because you have no idea what is happening. Thankfully, my parents are quite open-minded, so they were very sort of supportive. But it wasn't really until I was in my late teens that I think I started to reconnect and re-explore that kind of spiritual connection, and that was during a time that I felt I needed it. Spirit comes close and angels come close when you're struggling with things, I think, and then help you through those situations. So it was my late teens was when I really felt connected with the higher vibrational realms, so the angels, and started exploring the angel cards and things.
Wonderful. It sounds very similar to my story, actually. When I was about 7, I used to see many spirits all the time. And then when I was in my early teens, that's when I started sort of practicing with the playing cards and doing a little bit of divination. And then it was in my late teens that it really sort of took off, really from about 17 onwards. So very, very similar story to you.
Yeah.
also, you do cosmic ordering, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
This was something I always did as a child, always. I would I play a bus game, that when we were waiting for the bus, I'd think to myself, right, if this bus is the number 2 bus, that means that today our mum's going to buy me some sweets on the way home from school. You know, I was only 7 or 8 at this time. And then when it would happen, the number 2 bus would come and I'd get some sweets. So I started to kind of explore that idea of I could ask for different things. So if I saw a number 7 bus, I'd ask, oh, maybe today I'll get to go and see my nan, or I could get something else would happen. And I started to kind of play with that idea of cosmic ordering, is what it was sort of called way back in the day. And now we kind of know it as the law of attraction and that kind of thing. But yeah, that's something I've always kind of explored and played with. And I think is kind of a huge untapped aspect that people often forget, that you can really shape and change your own reality. You just have to be able to tap into that and believe in that, I think. And again, I try and make it quite practical. So like with the bus game, you know, just asking for small things that you would like to happen on that day, and then when they happen, it kind of reaffirms your connection.
Absolutely.
And you can kind of build on that as well, which I think is so good. You know, when you're doing readings for people, a lot of people are struggling, going through a hard time, and if you can kind of shift their perspective into asking for positive things to happen and ordering positive things into your life, then I think that you can really kind of turn your life around quite quickly.
Absolutely. I tend to use what I call a mindset switch, where I get people to sit there and reflect about one thing that was positive in their day and do that on a daily basis. So what happens as an automatic response is that you start to look for that positive thing each and every day, so you can reflect upon it and remember it at the end of the day, and that starts to shift people into a far more sort of like positive way, or positive expectation is what I call it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, very much. We're quite similar.
So I'm guessing that your cosmic ordering technique has since changed since the bus game?
Yeah, I still occasionally will play the bus game. But no, now I tend to, like you say about the mindset switch, I tend to do a kind of gratitude practice. So, and I do that in the morning and in the evening. So just before I'm getting up in the morning, I'll be grateful for 5 things, even if it is just, I had a really good night's sleep, and I found the perfect position in bed and I'm so comfortable, or the sun's shining today. You know, little things that you can have first thing in the morning before you've even got out of bed, that can just kind of shift your perspective into being grateful. And then I do something similar at the end of the day, which again is more just switching your mindset into a positive mindset. In terms of cosmic ordering, I still sort of set intentions. I tend to do things a little bit on a bigger scale now. So I tend to do like setting intentions for the month. I like to work quite nicely with moon cycles. So on a new moon, I'll kind of think of what I would like to manifest within the next moon cycle and kind of work on that really, and then reflect on that at the full moon. So yeah, grown up a little bit.
So what is your most amazing experience that you've ever had, whether that's with a psychic reading or whether that's with cosmic ordering? What would be your number one experience?
I've had 2 experiences that sort of stand out as being wow experiences. One was about 12 years ago now. My husband was serving in the military, and he was away and deployed in Afghanistan. And obviously, being his wife, I was extremely concerned and worried about him. I'm going through a particularly difficult period, and I was pregnant at the time. So, you know, lots of emotions and hormones. And then I'd been out shopping on my lunch break from work, and I trod on what I thought was a stone. And it got lodged into my boot, and I went back to my office and I couldn't get this stone off of my shoe. So I sat down and I took off my boots, and on the bottom of my boot was an angel brooch pin that somebody had lost. And as soon as I saw this angel, I had this overwhelming sense of peace. And when you work with sort of the angelic realms, you get this kind of sense of comfort that's hard to explain. But that was kind of overwhelming. And I knew he would be okay. I knew my baby would be okay. I knew that everything would be fine. And from that point, yes, I was still worried about him, but the worry wasn't what it initially was, because I knew that the angels were protecting him. I knew that they'd given me that sign that everything was going to be okay. So yeah, that was one standout moment. I was like, wow, that you can't deny that kind of connection. That was very much
meant to be.
Yeah, definitely. And I actually kept that pin all the way through my pregnancy, and I was holding it when I gave birth to my son.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was, funnily enough, he was born with a hole in his heart. So he was quite poorly for the beginning part of his life. And I still kept this pin on his change bag, with the nappies. And the day we went to the hospital and they said that his heart had healed itself, I lost that pin. And I know now that pin has gone to somebody else that needed it, So somebody else at the hospital that day may have found it, but I know that was just them guiding me through a particularly difficult period in my life, and kind of letting me have that tangible connection with my angels.
Oh, wonderful.
So yeah, that was a pretty moment.
It does sound absolutely amazing, actually. We're going to go on to a caller in a moment, but before we do that, just in case we run out of time, how can people get hold of you if they would like their own private reading?
The easiest way is on my website or on social media. So my website is www.bohemianbex.co.uk. I'm on Facebook at Bohemian Bex. And also on Instagram as well. So on any of those platforms, people can message me, or they can email me, which is Bex, BEX_Liz @hotmail.co.uk. And any of those mediums come direct to me and we can book them in for a reading.
Wonderful. Right, let's get straight on with this first caller. And we have Mary, who is from Boulder in Colorado. Mary, can you hear me?
I sure can. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome to the show. I'm going to hand you over to Bex. Do you have a question for her?
I do, actually. It's involving something that happened to me, a dream, and something else that happened to me when I was about 6 years old that I'm just starting to talk about, and I'm wondering if there's any light you can shed on this experience for me.
I'll do my best, yeah. What was the dream, Mary? Did you want to share?
It only happened once, and it was when I was about 6 years old. It was a bunch of us neighborhood kids riding our bicycles in an area that we always used to ride our bikes. And it was after sunset, and a spaceship landed, and everybody was freaked out and ran away except for me. I remember getting on board the spaceship, and then I woke up the next day and went about my 6-year-old life and forgot all about it. That night, the dream continued, and I got off the spaceship. I've never had a dream that went into a second night before, ever, or since. And something that happened that same year was, this was 1970, after 2 hospitalizations for severe lower right abdominal pain, vomiting, high fever. The doctors put me on IV antibiotics and sent me home twice until my appendix ruptured at home. And I just, there's something between all this. I just know there is, or I'm just wondering if you can shed any light on that.
The first thing I was getting as you were telling me about your dream is starseed. The idea that you could be connected again with higher vibrational realms. And I feel that you're quite, I feel that you are actually very connected with the spiritual realms, and I feel that you need to explore that a little bit more. I've got two cards here. I've got the Moon card and the Knight of Earth. Both cards, the Moon card particularly being kind of a galactic card and a card connected with that divine feminine energy. I feel that your psychic ability, your healing abilities are very much something that you need to be tapping into. And
my healing ability. I was a crisis counselor by trade, but I had a brain tumor removed, and now I'm practicing Reiki. So yes, I do agree with everything you're saying. Resonates as so true.
Fantastic. I feel very much that you are kind of like I almost want to say a bridge. The fact I've got a Moon card and an Earth card, I feel that you are kind of a bridge between a lot of the earthy planes and those higher vibrational planes. So I feel that this healing that you're exploring, and I don't think it will just be Reiki, Mary. I feel that there's other healing modalities that you will be exploring as well. And I also feel that you'll be bringing in one thing that we do in angelic Reiki is we work with a lot of intergalactic masters that come in through meditation and work with us on a healing level. So they're slightly different to your angels, but very much of that higher vibration. And I feel that that's something that you really need to be exploring, because I do feel very strongly that you have a healing ability, and you help to connect other people with those higher realms as well. Almost like you lift people up that are around you. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. That's not the first time I've heard that at all.
Yeah, I feel very much like people are drawn to you, and that often they're drawn to you at a time when they need healing. And I feel very much the starseed word, I know I've heard it before, but I couldn't say to you what it means, but it's definitely something to investigate, because that was the first word I heard when you told me about your dream was starseed. So I feel that that's definitely something to research and look into.
I've often thought the same. Yeah.
Yeah, and as I said,
I love hearing the confirmation on this, because it's just something. This is the first reading or anything like this that I've ever done.
Oh, bless you! Thank you, thank you for letting me do it.
It's very exciting.
I feel that there's lots more for you to explore with your healing. I don't think it's just in terms of working as a counsellor and Reiki. I feel that there's so much more to your healing abilities.
Yeah, it's my mission. It's my mission. It's, I'm here to anchor light and heal the collective consciousness.
Absolutely, that's so lovely. Yeah, I feel that is your purpose, absolutely your purpose. And I feel that you have very much protectors and galactic beings that are there to guide you with that, definitely.
How's the best way to get more in touch with the counselor, with my guide?
Meditation, I think Sarah would agree with me, is probably one of the first steps to being able to build that connection with your guides is meditation. If you wanted to meditate with a crystal, which I think is actually very useful for people that connect with galactic beings. I
have hundreds of them. You name it, I probably have it.
Yeah, the clear quartz.
Is there a specific one?
And clear quartz that you can get with a point that almost look like wands, they're really good for sort of astral travel and being able to kind of connect you with those beings. The ones that look, I don't have any with me, but they are sort of double pointed, so they look almost like they've got a point on each end. Those are fantastic.
Yes, I have one. Yes, I have one exactly like that. If
you hold that whilst you're meditating, that will kind of take you on a journey, and your guides will find that as a good way to be able to communicate with you. But first and foremost, for any development or healing, it's meditation, because they want to communicate with us. They want to give us their gifts and share those gifts and help us to kind of live our purpose. But we have to listen. So we have to quiet a lot of what is going on in our noisy, busy world. And then they can come in and give us the advice that they need.
One thing that I would like to just add, actually, I'm really focusing on the whole starseed thing. So sorry for butting in.
No, please.
It's just, I mean, what I feel here is that it wasn't just a dream. I'm feeling here that there is the possibility that it was a far more real experience for you. And what I keep on getting here with this is that actually your consciousness, if you like, was taken abroad over a number of nights. And that's why it's kind of filtered into your dream, if that makes sense. Is that something that that resonates with you?
Absolutely. Absolutely, it does, yes.
And the thing is, when we're working with our guides, you mentioned that you were a counsellor before. My feeling here is that you've always been in touch with your guides, but you've not necessarily seen it as such. It's just come through as inspiration and great advice that's been given within a session. But what you can do, quite rightly, as Bex has said, is to actually just to tune in. And when we're talking about meditation, you don't have to zone out for hours. It's just a quick process, and really just kind of building that. It's just building the dialogue. But I believe that you already have that dialogue. It's just tapping into it and recognizing it for what it is. Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes so much sense. So much sense. Yes, I feel like that's the piece I've been missing. Like there's the next step, and that's exactly it.
Wonderful.
That's exactly it.
Is there anything else you'd like to add, Bex, before we let the lovely Mary go?
I just love to hear how Mary's journey goes. I think that she's got a very special gift, and I think, what an amazing experience to have had.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mary.
Oh, thank you so much. This has been absolutely thrilling, and I couldn't, everything you said just resonated with me so beautifully. I cannot thank you enough. So keep up this fabulous work, and thank you again.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mary. So quickly, if you could just remind people again how to get in contact with you if they would like a reading with you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. It's my website is bohemianbex.co.uk, or finding me on Facebook. It's Bohemian Bex, so it's BOHEMIANBEX on Facebook, and also on Instagram.
Wonderful.
Can I give my email? Sorry,
yeah.
It's Bex, BEX_Liz, LIZ @hotmail.co.uk.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. Hopefully we'll see you on the show again soon. And just want to remind everybody, if they do want to get hold of me, they can do through my website, www.modern-mystic.co.uk, and on Facebook under Mystic Saira and Modern Mystic. I will be back next week. I won't have a guest. It will be Christmas Day, and I'll be doing the readings and obviously talking to you about other things as well. So look forward to seeing you. Have a great Christmas, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.